Hey guys, Level Cap here, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Gaming. DICE has released a new blog post detailing all of the launch game modes for Battlefield 5 multiplayer. Initially, this post said that Grand Operations, one of Battlefield 1's premier game modes, was actually going to go live sometime after Battlefield 5's launch. This rather upset the community considering how much effort DICE had put forward into marketing the Grand Operations game mode and showing it off in the closed alpha. After much discussion and news covering this post, DICE updated the post to say that Grand Operations will be playable at launch of Battlefield 5. Grand Operations is one of the premier game modes that was showed off in the closed alpha for Battlefield 5, and it features a multi-day mission that can span across multiple maps as well, featuring different kinds of game modes. Of course, Conquest will be back. Operations mode from Battlefield 1 is essentially returning as a new mode called Breakthrough. Frontlines is also returning from Battlefield 1, along with Domination and Team Deathmatch. EA is also considering making a standalone free-to-play Battle Royale game. During EA's Q1 earnings call, someone asked if the Battle Royale component for Battlefield 5 could be split similar to Fortnite's Battle Royale component as a free-to-play standalone mode. They indicated that this wasn't going to be done, however, that they were interested in pursuing a free-to-play standalone Battle Royale game, possibly entirely independent from the Battlefield franchise. EA's Origin Access PC subscription service is getting a new Premier tier that allows full access to all of EA's latest titles. The original Origin Access tier is being rebranded as the Basic plan. It'll cost $5 a month or $30 a year and includes access to older PC titles, 10-hour trials of new games starting 5 days before they launch, and a 10% discount on all purchases made via the Origin store. Premier includes all of that for $15 a month or $99 a year, but turns those 10-hour trials into unlimited access for as long as you maintain your subscription. Titles included in the Premier tier are Battlefield 5, FIFA 19, and Anthem, to name a few. No Man's Sky has risen from the ashes of its launch and become a pretty decent game thanks to its latest update. Called Next, the update finally added a proper multiplayer. It also overhauled the game's visuals, expanded the base building mechanics, and much more. User reviews for the game on Steam have improved from negative to mostly mixed, with recent reviews being overwhelmingly positive. The general attitude towards the game is that the developers finally delivered what was originally promised. That said, it's not all sunshine and procedural rainbows. The GOG.com version of the game doesn't have multiplayer support yet. The developer failed to mention this until a few hours after Next launched. They released a joint statement with GOG saying the technical challenge involved in getting multiplayer working on multiple platforms forced them to delay it on GOG. The good news is that they're working with GOG to bring multiplayer support online via the GOG Galaxy game client. The current timeline for release is sometime later this year. To make up for this delay, GOG are offering an extended refund policy to anyone that owns No Man's Sky on their platform. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds' first official major tournament, the PUBG Invitational, kicked off earlier this week. To celebrate, all players that log in before the 30th get a free crate containing the PGI Sporty set. PUBG Corp announced their 5-year roadmap for the game's future as an esport game at the opening press conference for PGI. Leading up to the event, the game's creator, Brendan Green, said he understands the game isn't esports ready yet. The goal is to spend the rest of the year getting the game technically stable, improve the spectator tools, and finalize the rule set for competitive play. Next year, we'll see the full official launch of PUBG as an esports title. The following 3 years will be dedicated to building and evaluating new features, content, and general changes to the game. Hopefully, this means those long-awaited optimization improvements are coming sometime before the end of 2018. Nearly every patch notes and dev blog post for the game since 1.0's launch has made promises about performance improvements. While it's true these things take time, it has been frustrating for longtime players. As for the ongoing debate about free PUBG custom matches, Green clarified it's not possible to provide them without a paywall of some kind. He said free servers are not a sustainable business model, which I honestly find a little bit hard to believe because if you think about it, Everybody's already playing on free servers for the normal Battle Royale game mode. If those players decide that they want to play custom matches, why not just have your server system set aside some servers for custom games versus normal Battle Royale games? You, in theory, wouldn't have to increase your server count as long as the player base stayed the same size. This week's event mode for PUBG is the Pro Rules version of the game being played at PGI. It's locked to first-person perspective, has a faster blue zone, more generous weapon spawns, no red zones, and fixed spawn locations for 20 vehicles. Overwatch is having a free-to-play weekend on PC to celebrate its new hero, Wrecking Ball. The free-to-play version doesn't include competitive matches. Any progress you make during the free-to-play weekend will carry over if you purchase Overwatch after it ends. The next generation DLC for Star Trek Bridge Crew has launched. It takes the co-op spaceship bridge simulator to the franchise's TNG era. 2 new modes are included with the DLC. In Patrol mode, you wander through space encountering randomly generated events and enemies. In Resistance mode, you are pursued by the franchise's most infamous villains, the Borg. The Borg are also one of the 2 new races added to the game along with the Romulans. The next generation DLC is priced at $15 and requires the base game to play. Apple landed themselves in a bit of hot water with their new 15-inch MacBook Pro's thermal throttling issues. Customers that opted for the $300 upgrade to an Intel i9 CPU, bringing the total cost of the laptop to $3,100, found the machine would quickly throttle under load. Apple allegedly issued a firmware update to fix a bug in the laptop's thermal management code, but users are still reporting the CPU fails to hit its standard 4.8 GHz boost clock speed. The same bug apparently affected all MacBook Pros with the Touch Bar models, not just the i9 one. A hacker responsible for creating and distributing code that cracks the Denuvo DRM software has been arrested. Denuvo recently filed a lawsuit against the hacker, who goes by Vosky. He gained notoriety for claiming the company's DRM had a negative impact on game performance. According to Denuvo, Vosky had his computer seized and was eventually arrested by the local police. Microsoft have decided to finally do something about the automatic restarts in Windows 10. Predictive software based on machine learning has been added to test builds of the operating system. It tracks how and when you use your PC to determine ideal times for installs that require a restart. Since the launch of Windows 10, major updates to the OS are automatically installed. Users can defer these updates to a later time, but they eventually install themselves, sometimes forcing the PC to restart unexpectedly. This update should hopefully stop future installs from interrupting important tasks like downloads, renders, full-screen games, and more. The vehicle-focused Battle Royale game Fractured Lands is coming to Steam Early Access on the 31st. Like most games in the genre, players will fight over random loot scattered throughout the map. The twist is that the vehicles will have weapons of their own. Players can use vehicles to store additional items, get around the map faster, and wreak havoc on others. Vehicles can also be upgraded with better weapons and abilities. Based on the gameplay trailer, it doesn't look like vehicle weapons can be rotated, which limits their area of engagement to dead ahead. This should keep their power in check with players on foot. A sniper rifle that can shoot through walls was data mined from Fortnite's most recent update. Referred to as a heavy sniper rifle, it's a slow, bolt-action weapon that can pierce through the first wall it hits. Damage per shot for the rifle is listed at 157, making it more deadly than the game's most powerful rifle, the legendary bolt-action sniper, which does 116 damage per shot. Fortnite's building mechanics are often described as a feature that gives players an unfair way of avoiding death in gunfights. None of the game's current weapons can penetrate walls, so if you shoot a player behind a wall, the bullet does 100% of its damage to that wall, instead of penetrating it and hitting the player for reduced damage. Assuming that the heavy sniper rifle will be added to the game, there's no telling how it could change the game's meta. Free-to-play Battle Royale shooter H1Z1 is getting its official PlayStation 4 release on August 7th. The game has been available as a free beta for a few months now. The official release launches with a massive update that adds 3 new weapons, rebalances a few existing weapons, and adds paid bundles to the game. The bundles are ranged from $5 to $50 and include cosmetic items and crates. H1Z1's beta peaked at 10 million players in June, so the official launch should have a decent player count. In our final story this week, the Collings relaunch is having mixed success. It has around 200 concurrent players, down from over 800 when the relaunch went live on the 21st. The reason the game is being relaunched is because its sequel, The Calling 2, had a disastrous launch. It was so bad the developers pulled it from sale and announced a renewed support for the original title, starting with a rollback to its Day 1 patch. And that wraps it up for today's episode of This Week in Gaming. As always, thanks for watching. Let me know what you thought about the articles in the comments down below. And I'll see you next time. This is Level Cap, signing off.